tool is really handy if the ground isn't too hard and if you've already worked it. So my ground is fairly soft, so it would be the one I'd use. And all you do is you just make a hole, and you make a hole about 3 times the size of the little bulb. That's the rule for almost all bulbs, is that it's 3 times the size. So you dig it deeper, you let it be soft, you stick it in, and the little tip that's growing up towards God is the one you plant, and the fuzzy is at the bottom. You cover it up, you pat it, and you tell you love it very much, and then you move on to the other one. If my soil weren't soft, I'd dig and dig and bang and bang and bang and dig, and I would use this tool. But because my soil is soft, I just go in like this and just make it. If there's a rock in there, I'll take the rock out because you don't want your little bulbs against rocks. And I do have some rocks in here because I made a French drain in here. Get those out. Say, oh my word, I don't like those. Make sure that you've got the fuzzy end back and the little tip up. Put it in about 1/3 the time, cover it up, pat it, and then you're going to plant all of them like that. You're going to water them, and then I sprinkle it with a little bit of hot spicy cayenne pepper or chili pepper, and that keeps the moles away. So in this little bulb, which way do you plant it is often the question if you're just beginning to plant bulbs. And this bulb, you'd say, that top maybe looks like a root, I'll plant it this way. But actually this is the top budding out, which will become the flower. So you want to look at the part that's got a peak or a point on it. That's always the upside. And if you turn it over, you'll see sometimes there might be little tiny fuzzy hair on it, but usually it'll just look like an ugly little wart. And that's the bottom. It'll be more flat. So pointy side up, flat, fuzzy, warty, ugly side down. Okay. So this is a useful tool because you can put pressure on it. You can use your body weight. You just go round and round. There's no great hurry. It just worms its way into that. So you only want it to be 3 times that deep. But I'm making it a little bit deeper than that because I want the bottom of the soil to be easy for it to dwell in. And I think there might be a little rock in there, so I have to make sure I get that little rock out because it does not like rocks. So if you have a rock, you find it and you take it out. So now I've got a nice loose hole. I've got a little bit of bone meal in there. In goes my little plant, and then I'm going to sprinkle this over, very soft, pat it, I'll lightly water the area, and then I will sprinkle on top of it some cayenne pepper or some chili pepper, because what I want to do is to discourage anybody from digging these out. There are several ways to discourage them, and that's one. They're small because we use them for naturalizing, and that's usually how they come. So there's many ways you could do it, and many people make the mistake and they put them in a row. One here and one here and one here, or straight row or in a circle, and that doesn't look very natural. You'll never see that in the forest. If you want to look, you're going to plant about 200 of these in one area, so you just toss them. And when they land, that's how you're going to plant them. So some will be close together, then there'll be a space, and that's how they would naturally come up in the forest. I've already sprinkled this soil with a nice helping of bone meal, and now when I use this tool, which is really a handy tool, because you can put a lot of weight on it, it's very sharp. This is about 10 years old and it's still really good. It has a groove in it to permit the soil to move up, and it has a deep hole. Turn it around, and then I always put a little bit in because I don't want any air in there. And then you put your guy in about 3 times the depth of the size of the bulb. So not very deep for these little guys. Which way do you put the bulb? When you look at the bulb, you might think, gee, I'm going to put that, it looks like a root, it's growing down, it must be taking root. Actually, you want to put it that way. That is the peak, and it's starting to open. This bud is ready to make babies. So nasty thing. So there on this side, what you've got is the root. And the root will just look like a wart. Sometimes there'll be a little hairy wart, but usually it's just a wart. And you just put that at the bottom. So that's all there is to it. And once you've planted 100 or 200 of these in one area, next spring you'll come out here and you will think you're in heaven. Because you will be. How easy that is? You can plant 100 of these in 20 minutes. I do.